and I'm just going to record here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the launch of Beyond the Ruins by Fivus. I'm not going to try and say your surname because I got it wrong last time. I have been practicing, but I'm not going to go there. So, book two, can you believe it? Was it around this time last year we were launching book one?
Yeah, no, it's a more of a relief this time round, but still pretty excited. So I don't think anything can ever be as exciting as doing it the first time round, though, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And the first one was such a personal endeavor, and this time you've got to get creative.
Yep.
So let's jump in and talk about that. What was your inspiration behind Beyond the Ruins? Because it's so much more than a ruined building. This is a it goes deep. So share with us a bit about that, Five of us.
Well, with just my own personal opinion, I kind of believe that writing something that actually took place is a lot easier than, like I wrote Beyond the first book, User. That was all from memory that actually took place. Whereas with this one, I thought I'd test my creativity and create a bit of versatility with it. So it's kind of like I was telling a friend of mine, it's kind of like it's based on a true event. There are true events that took place, but it's kind of like Titanic, where the first movie that came out in the 70s was a lot of people going into the cinemas to watch it because they were having an appreciation and admiration for what the survivors endured, not so much for the enjoyment. But then fast forward to 1997, James Cameron, he recreates the movie, but this time round, he tests his creativity by bringing a fictional love story. And all of a sudden, this movie becomes a phenomenon, an icon. So that's what I've tried to emulate. Not that there's a comparison between me and him, but I've thrown in some fictional romance with some real life things that actually took place to bring some excitement and some versatility to this book. So it isn't as one-dimensional as User. So that was part of my inspiration, if that makes sense. So,
Oh my
yeah.
God, it's like I'm talking to a new person. I swear you have grown so much as a writer. You really have. And
Yeah.
absolutely, using your real life experiences and then dramatizing them for readers to enjoy a story. That's exactly what writers do because if you've experienced something, you've experienced the feeling of it and what it's like to have gone through that. So no better person to share the insights in the pages of the book. Wow. So
Thanks.
what was the process like writing this time? Did you enjoy it more, being able to be more creative with your characters and things like that?
With I enjoyed it a lot more. With the first one, it was very therapeutic, and I actually was each time I wrote the first book, the difference was I actually was transfixed back in the moment. Like I actually had to take breathers from like 5 minutes in between to catch my breath and realize that I wasn't in that I'd passed that moment. But whereas with this one, there was a real buzz and excitement because I knew that I could add to it, I could adapt, there was no, there wasn't like, I wasn't getting caught up in the moment as I was with the first book. So it was a lot more relief, a lot more excitement and a lot more enjoyment. So yeah, that's how I viewed it. So.
That is it. When you're sharing your story, it is therapeutic process. And I always recommend for everybody to write your story during your lifetime because it helps you get rid of the residue of emotions that may be stuck and wedged inside you. You get to release them in the writing process, don't you? It's very
Yeah,
therapeutic and you don't know until you actually experience it. But
sure.
then the fun happens. And I know you had so much more fun this time writing. You enjoy writing, even though the first book was tough on you emotionally. But the second book, like I remember speaking to you at the first book, and I said, "What are your plans for the future as a writer?" And he said, "Well, I might go into fictional." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, yes, let's see that shine through." And I just seen you smiling your way through this one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if I was, it's a migration story, so there's some of the truth in that. So can you share with us a little bit without giving it all away?
Well, with this one, like I've thrown in a few twists because I did experience quite a lot of racism, surprisingly, as a kid. And I think a lot of it had to do with the unusual first name. It had it been a more common Greek name, and then having self-development issues and being an undeveloped child, as is in the book, that probably was open slather and made me an easy target. So I thought, okay, I could make it a little more interesting by bringing in the character as an immigrant and telling it from that point of view, giving it a deeper insight. So I've been like, whereas with having the experiences that I did, I could never comprehend what the early settlers in the 50s and 60s experienced. But that's where I thought I'd try and dramatize it a little with my personal experiences, if that makes sense. So kind of throw in a few enhancements, and that's where the book's got its versatility, I guess. So
Good to
yeah.
see where his mind's going with that, and absolutely making it more relatable and giving it more fuel and things like that. But an important conversation to have, because back in the days whenever we were at school, it wasn't like it is these days. Like school's tough. It's tough
Mm,
in any era. Like even now it's tough. But you have a voice now that we may not have had whenever we were going to school, you know what I mean? So, but
I
having the
do.
conversations is really important because people can relate and continue the conversation. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Beyond the Ruins, an amazing title. Can you share with us a little bit about the essence and why it's called that?
So it's called that. I was get first. I just want to thank Susan for her help again, been wonderful help. Like she's just amazing as a team. She really inspired me with that title, and it's got that title because I guess the character Apollo was going through a lot of turmoil, and his life was constantly felt like he was battling, going up in constantly in ruins. Like he'd get a bit of a break here and there, and then each moment just passing by, the obstacles they just continue to grow. So I guess there's that. With User, I left it open, but with this one, people love either like a gripping, final, exciting, happy endings kind of thing. So like there needed to be something that he could look past beyond the ruins and give that touching, warm feeling at the end. Like people love happy endings kind of thing.
I'm a
So,
happy ending girl.
and that's why it was able to push past beyond the ruins and get to that exciting point in his life. I try not to give anything away at the
Don't give
same
it
time.
away.
So,
Don't give it away. You're giving us a nice little insight. You're teasing us there, which is
okay.
wonderful. It's keeping us, But you and Susan have an amazing relationship and rapport, and I love that. I love that you have that because when you're growing as an author, to have that person who is that person that helps you grow, and because you can see how much you've grown yourself, and you learn every time you go through an editorial process with Susan, and I can see the depths in that. But as a person, you're growing as well. How do you feel as a person that you grow alongside your authorship?
I feel fantastic, but like I try to always keep having that humility, and like that's just how I like to identify myself. But and not let it get to my head. But I feel like I have grown. It's given me a lot more self confidence and more self belief, and so it's a nice accomplishment. Something that I didn't think I would do. But the reason I'm so more relieved and feeling so great about it is because when I wrote the first book, I didn't never thought that I'd actually want to go and continue being an author. Not because I didn't believe I could, but it wasn't until I got encouragement and a lot of positive reviews with the first book. But then I had self-doubt. So I thought, am I going to be a one-book wonder? So I wanted to prove to myself. And I feel that I've proven to myself that, well, here's the proof. And I think I've backed up an equally good story, possibly even better this time round. So,
Oh, absolutely. You're
so
just growing.
yeah, so
It is that you can see that. So what are your plans for the future? Are you planning more books? Is there any more in the
I
pipeline?
am. I'm writing two at the moment. I have gotten lost. I have to be honest. I've slacked off with everything going on. Like my
Mm.
motivation's been a bit down, but I have been encouraged, surprisingly, by firstly someone close to me, my brother's wife, and then when I mentioned it to Susan and a couple of others, I thought I'm going to sort of like change it, just have a crack at another genre, sort of like an erotic, like a type of 50 Shades of Grey. So I'm sort of like already halfway through that, and I'm pretty
Wow.
happy with just that. I thought I wanted to expand on, like not just continue like write true events, but something, what's the word?
Well,
Be a little more bold and be more daring and see if I've
yeah.
got that, because I've kind of touched on it in both books on some level. So I thought, hey, why not test out how versatile I can be?
There
So
you go.
yeah,
I admire your courage. I absolutely do. And go for it. If you've got it in you, you go for it. And because sex sells, let's just put it, as it
exactly.
does. So, and those books, everybody enjoys them. So yeah, go for it and explore your authorship and see where you land. And that is it. Whenever you're trying different genres, you're going to find different what you really enjoy and what you get called into more. And isn't it wonderful to have the freedom to do that as an author at this point?
Yeah, it is definitely. It is.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
In no time
yeah,
at all, you'll be under deadlines and contracts, and you won't have those freedoms by us. So enjoy it while it lasts. Absolutely. So, what are
definitely.
your dreams for this book, Five Us?
I actually I haven't really considered that.
Oh, you're so humble.
It's just kind of because I wasn't feeling as motivated, unfortunately, with just live. I guess everyone's in the same boat. But
Yes.
now that we're here and you put the question to me, I would love this book to be equally as good and get as many. I'd love to see it get a lot of positive reviews like the first book. I'd like to see that people actually enjoy it and that it actually is quite touching, like that it reaches people and that my writing is up to standard, like that it was that the first that I'm not a fluke as a one book wonder, if that makes sense. So, I really would love to see it do better than the first one
Yeah. Well, I can
because
I can assure you, you're not a one book wonder. You are doing amazing, and just keep doing it, and just keep growing, and keep your readers with content. And just remember, any time of lockdown, although the energy that's surrounding things can be quite heavy, a lockdown's a writer's dream.
yeah, yeah.
A mother's nightmare, but a writer's dream.
Heard that.
So, you can really take advantage of that. And even the feelings, the heaviness, put those into words, put them into a book, bring a character on a journey with them, transcend them into that. It's a very special thing you're doing. You're an inspiration to many. Five as you are a different man sitting in front of me with this. And I was impressed with our last interview whenever we released User. And today I'm absolutely super impressed. So keep doing what you're doing and enjoying it. And I just want to tell everybody that your book is available obviously at MMH Press. It's available online everywhere, and your ebook is out there as well. So we're going to go for Amazon #1 in the next 2 weeks. So please, everyone, watch for that as well, and let's get you to #1 bestseller because that's on your bucket list. If it's not, I'm putting it on your bucket list now.
Okay.
And we'll do it together. But enjoy your authorship and enjoy the reviews, and I know that you're going to get plenty more.
I also wanted to say that one of the other inspirations that I forgot, I guess my mind went blank, but also what inspired me with this book was my grandmother has always been like a rock. She's always supported. She's always been there for my brother and myself growing up. So that's also why I wanted to sort of like dedicate someone that always had my back. So in spite of her, she's very strong-willed and the one person that's always been a good positive focus for both my brother and I growing up. That was another part of the inspiration behind it as well. So I wanted to.
Find, yeah, strength there, isn't there? You can see that helps fuel it, absolutely. Five of
So,
us continue to write. Everyone who's watching, go and get this book. It's highly recommended. Watch this guy because he's going places. And 1 year later, he's already got another one out. Like holy moly, he'll just be like pumping them out, but like nobody's business. And so you're in a great flow. Just keep going and go and get Beyond the Ruins, guys. And if you haven't got User, get it too. Bundle it up, get both. Why not? Fill your shelf up and let five of us know what you think because there's nothing more wonderful than feedback from your
mm,
readers. It gives you, it's really food for thought, food for the authors. Okay, everybody on Facebook and on YouTube watching, goodbye. Go check out this author and thank you so much, Five of us, for joining me today.
pleasure. Thank
Congratulations
you.
on the launch of Beyond the Ruins.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.